You have to get more than a bit mad to single-handedly launch a campaign against inequality? At a recent forum, visual artist Elvis Richardson Riley described how anger was the catalyst that sparked her to start Countess, a blog that assembles and reviews data on gender representation in Australia's contemporary art scene. Since 2008, Richardson has analysed the gender breakdown of who gets exhibited, collected, reviewed and rewarded. Converting indignation into statistics and emotion into hard facts, her blog provides irrefutable evidence that gender bias is an ongoing problem besetting the visual arts. The most current snapshot illustrates that only 34% of the artists shown in state museums are women. In commercial galleries, the proportion is 40%. In the art media, 34% of feature articles and reviews are about women, but 80% of magazine covers are dedicated to male artists. Change needs to be embraced at every level, not least in developing art curriculum in secondary schools. Victorian students who sat their final studio art exam last week were given 14 images to write about, of which only one was produced by a woman. A cursory survey of exams in previous years and other states suggests such bias is entrenched. Over the past decade, the gatekeepers of the Australian art scene have started responding to the unconscious bias Richardson documents. When comparing the graphs and charts in her old posts with the 2016 Countess report, it is possible to identify small improvements. Still, as Richardson says in her report introduction, a recent study by David Throsby and Katya Petevskaya also shows the gender pay gap is substantial in the Australian art scene. Further reading, the gender pay gap is wider in the arts than in other industries. The 2016 Countess report was made possible with support from the Cruthers Art Foundation. This organization is making a substantial contribution towards rebalancing the statistics via the Cruthers Collection of Women's Art, the only dedicated public collection of art by Australian women. Begun in 1974 as a private family collection acquiring women's art, the collection consists primarily of portraiture, self-portraiture and art that is focused on still life, abstraction, early postmodernism and second-wave feminism. The collection was gifted to the University of Western Australia in 2007 and is housed at Lawrence Wilson Art Gallery. Cruthers curator Gemma Weston believes the collection plays a role in valuing and making visible the work of women artists, which in turn can provide a pathway to its acceptance in the institutional domain. Individual works are often loaned to other art museums around Australia. Weston identifies visibility as a key factor in determining what gets collected and how an artist gets traction in her career. She says institutional recognition is a long and complicated process of gathering momentum, which often begins with the private collector rather than the art museum. There is no doubt that all-women collections and exhibitions can help to change the depressing statistics assembled by Richardson. There is concern, however, that this strategy can cause ghettoization.